circle right here,
Let
okay?
me look. No, I couldn't forget about it.
I showed my husband that this week. What is he doing? A big old juice.
Okay, for the front side of the opener, we were figuring out slope based on the line that was already graphed for us. What's the first step in finding slope? Rise over run. But how do we figure that out? What do we have to find? Yeah, but we're looking for two lattice points. Thank you. Okay. Mike, do you want to point out a lattice point for me? Two of them? Right there. And right there. Okay, thank you. What else is this called here? It's a lattice point, but it's also crossing the y-axis, right? So what is that called if we were doing slope-intercept form? Do we remember? When y equals mx plus b? It's
That's why.
y, what? Intercept.
Why do you do that?
We need that when we're figuring out slope-intercept form. Good job, AJ. That's the slope, or y-intercept. But it's also a lattice point. And so if we're doing rise over run, we're going to start with the leftmost point, right? Because we read left to right. So how many do I go down, Alex? If I'm starting 4, good. And then how many over? 3. So my slope is -4/3. So we can know that it's a negative slope because when we did the rise, we went down. Also, if you look at the red line from left to right, it's going down, right? So it's automatically a negative slope.
We still on first one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh,
Oh, the last one. Okay, Kaylon, can you tell me where 2 lattice points are? You don't have to come up here if you don't want to. Just tell me where to go.
1 and 1 over 2? Oh, you talking about on the,
The lattice points.
you start in the middle.
What?
Start in the middle.
I am in the middle.
Go up 1.
That's the lattice point?
Yeah.
Yep. Where's another one?
Right next to it. Go over. No. You go over.
Right?
This way, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And go up.
Right there?
Uh-huh.
Nice. Yep. So you could use this one, you could use this one, you could use that one. But if we're using this one, we're already going left to right. Sometimes if you were to circle this one over here, I see a lot of people get confused if you circle the left lattice point, which sometimes you have to. Sometimes there isn't one over here. But sometimes people do it the opposite direction. So I would, if you can, I would use the one to the right and the closest one you can, because then you don't have to reduce either. So Kaylon, what's my rise?
1.
Up 1 and over how many?
2.
2. So slope is 1/2.
That was actually.
It was what?
No, I was talking to myself about
Okay.
this.
All right. Does everybody have that? 1/2. For line C, here's a lattice point again on the y-axis, which is the y-intercept. And then there's another one. I'm going to circle the 2 closest to each other. And if I'm starting with my leftmost, I'm going to go down 1 and over 1. So what's my slope? What's the number?
No, it's
AJ?
-1/2.
-1/1.
Oh.
Because we went down 1 over 1. AJ, you had the right numbers. You were just forgetting your negative. Okay? So down 1 over 1. If you used, say, this lattice point and this lattice point instead, we would have gone down 3/3, and then slope would equal -3/3, but then what does that reduce to?
1.
Yeah, -1. Because if we divide -3 into 3, -1. So using the two closest lattice points that you can, that'll save you work because you don't have to reduce. And when you do more work, you have more chances to make an error, in your math. So,
And where's the
if
good
you
about
can.
that?
huh?
And what's the good about that?
What's the good about that? It's nice to get all the points that you can on tests.
By getting them wrong?
No, by getting them right. Okay, line D. What's the slope?
Undefined.
Undefined. Nice. We don't even need to know the lattice points because the line is vertical. If it was horizontal, what would the slope be?
Quick question for you though. If I would ask you to write the slope of an undefined line,
It could be 0.
what would it be? What would the rise be?
0.
Say again, what would the rise be? 0. Think about it. Where are the lattice points on that line?
It could be 1.
Okay, yeah, because the lattice points go up every one. What would my run be though?
0.
Yeah, there my run would be 0. And remember, anytime that we have 1 over 0, the 0's on the bottom, it goes back to undefined. But you won't ever have to write it on a test like that. I was just curious what you guys knew.
I know.
But if we had a horizontal line, if it looked like this, what would our slope be?
You're like what?
No? It's not the same thing? What's the slope of this line?
0.
0. But we can find the lattice points for this as well. If I used this one and this one, what's the rise? On this line, what's the rise? 0. Over how many? 1. And 0 divided by 1 is 0. Okay, let's move to the back.
You go right 7.
Hold on just a second. M equals, you said 7 minus what?
1
Mm-hmm.
equals 6. Then you gonna do 5 minus 3 equals 2. Answer is 6 over 2. You go box. That's your answer.
Is that the answer? Is it 6 over 2? No. What do we do to finish it?
I gotta simplify.
Simplify. How do we simplify?
Simplify by 2.
Yep. So you can either just simply do 6 divided by 2. What's that equal?
3.
3. Or you can divide both top and bottom by 2.
Yep.
3 over 1. That's our slope. You did it correctly. You just forgot to simplify, Kaylin. So we've got the equation given to us. Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. When you're taking your test or doing homework or an opener, just so you don't forget, I would label your ordered pairs like this so that you know exactly what numbers to plug into that equation. So when you see Y2, you look at the Y2 you have written, it's 7, so you plug it in there. Whoa. Okay. So my next one, there's X1, Y1, X2, Y2, M equals. And again, I would recommend writing your fraction bar and both minus signs before you start plugging numbers in, because when we have negatives, which we do, sometimes it can get kind of complicated.
Just turn them to a positive.
Yeah, depending on where they are.
Just combine the 2 minuses and they equal positive.
Right. But if you don't write the minus sign first, you might forget that you need to write it later. Okay. Cody, can you tell me what numbers go on top? In that order? No? What order? Negative 2 minus 8, because it's Y2, right? Y2 minus Y1, so it's negative 2 minus 8. Negative 2 minus 8. And then, Danielle, can you tell me what numbers go on the bottom?
5 and 9.
Perfect. 5 and 9. Okay. What's negative 2 minus 8? Somebody? Negative 2 minus 8?
It's negative 10.
Negative 10.
6. What?
And what's 5 minus 9? Negative what?
Positive 4.
It's negative.
Negative what?
It is negative 4.
Negative 4. And we have two things to do before we can box in our answer, right?
You gotta bring them two signs up and make them to a positive.
Both become a positive.
Yeah.
And then what else?
Look, can I turn
You
it
can
off?
Simplify by what?
5 over,
2 goes into both numbers. 5 over 2. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. And again, you can plug this into your calculator. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And it's positive. There aren't any negatives on the bottom. So our slope is 5 over 2. And the last one. x1, y1, x2, y2. Mike, can you do this last one for me?
Why?
Huh.
Fine.
What numbers go on top?
5 and negative 3.
And then on bottom?
5 minus 11. And equals 8 over negative 6. Simplify that.
Yeah, it's
4
gonna be 8.
over negative
It's like 6.
4 over negative 3. What's wrong with that end answer, though? Yeah, somebody else, what's wrong with this? The numbers are correct.
You gotta bring that minus up.
Bring the minus up to the top. Yep, so it's negative 4 over 3. I have seen a few people, instead of just moving the negative sign up to the top number, I've seen them flop the numbers completely. So it would read negative 3 over 4, but that's incorrect. We're only moving the negative sign, okay? Not the numbers themselves. So thank you, Mike. You did that pretty quickly, so I'm going to go over it real quick. y2, which is 5, minus y1, which is negative 3. We've got a minus sign next to a negative sign, so that becomes an addition problem, right? Which is why Mike said this equaled 8, because 5 plus 3 equals 8. Then on the bottom, 5 minus 11, because x2 minus x1 equals negative 6. Then 2 goes into both numbers, so we simplified by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. And then we moved that negative sign up to the top. Okay, are we good? All right, go ahead and pass your openers forward and over to Jaden, please.
Yeah, Pastor Nick David.